Okay, so we just unwrapped the brand new version of the Tab 320S and CSS AC vent cover. Comes complete like this, ready to install. Here's your hardware, basic tools, Phillips head screwdriver, 11/32 socket, #1 square driver. Very simple, comes with instructions. It lists all your tools and a diagram on how everything goes together, as well as step-by-step instructions as to how to install it. The whole installation should take you about 40-45 minutes. The only thing you will need is a tube of caulk. Home Depot, any hardware store. We use the GE metallic gray, but you can use white, whatever is readily available in your area. Okay, so now we're going to remove the old AC vent. First step is to take a razor blade, and we're going to cut that silicone seal loose so we can break that vent off. And then, of course, the next step is the screws, the 4 screws. Okay, so next step, we use this #1 square bit on the impact wrench and remove all 4 screws on the vent. Okay, and then the next step is we're going to clean off the residual caulk from the factory air vent. So we're going to go ahead and remove the AC bezel with the #1 square bit. I use a driver, it's a little bit easier. The screws are long, it's kind of hard on your wrist, but it works either way. Very simple to do. So remove these screws like so. And it takes a little bit of juggling, but nonetheless comes right out like this. And place that over here. Next step is to go ahead and remove the AC unit. I'm not going to unplug it because there's enough cord there to set it down on the bench so you don't damage anything. Then we can have full access. What you'll do is you'll see these feet here behind the drip pan. You'll lift it up above that, tilt it out like so, pull it straight out. Not too heavy, one person can do it. And you tilt it up, pull it straight down as such. Next step is to vacuum this pan. There is construction debris left over from the factory that could clog your drain, so we like to vacuum it out and just make sure there's no debris in there. Okay, so the next step, we're going to run a bead of caulk. You can use GE silicone, which is good. We like the silver metallic, but you can use the white, whatever you can find at your local hardware store. So run a nice even bead around there, and that gets sandwiched in between the frame. It gives you a nice seal. Okay, so now we're going to mount the vent up. The caulk is applied, and Chuck is going to go ahead and get it ready to bolt it up. Put your screws through, and then he will hold this with a screwdriver while I go in with a nut driver and secure it. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and put the washer on the top, put the lock nut on, use the nut driver to secure it. Ready, Chuck? Yep. Go. And there it is. And lastly, the 4th one. This side. And drive it. Now these are secure. You don't use a lot of torque on these because you don't want to squish this panel. It's just foam and fiberglass. Okay, so lastly, on the outside, we're going to run a bead of caulk around the edges to finish it. Chuck did tape it so it will leave a nice smooth line. I suggest you do that as well because if you do it by hand, a lot of times it gets a little sloppy. So now we're going to go ahead and finish it off with this finger. You'll see just kind of get the residual caulk off there. Pull the tape off, and that should give you a nice clean finish line. You want to pull the tape off when the caulk is wet so it doesn't leave any, take any of the residual dried caulk off. Okay, so now the edges are sealed. Okay, so here we are inside the coach. We're going to go ahead and reinsert the air conditioning back into its cabinet, put the bezel plate back on, and insert the cord and wrap this install up. Go ahead and lift this up. It needs to be tilted so the feet go inside the pan, and then you'll angle it up towards the top of the cabinet. There's a little bit of juggling around to get it in there. Then you tilt it down onto the track. There's a little track that it slides in. Go ahead and push it in. And you want to go all the way back to where these feet go inside the pan, because that's what holds it basically from sliding out. Now that's secure, and we move it all the way to the right so we can install the power cord here. It just tucks behind the unit as so. And that just goes like that off to the side, and then you want to recenter the unit as so. And the next step, we take the wood bezel here and just slips over. Sometimes it's a little tight in this corner, so you have to work it a little bit, move things around. 2 screws with a driver, just put them in snug. They don't have to go in too tight. Reinstall the bezel. 2. And that's basically it. Your air conditioning unit is reinserted and reinstalled and back to the way it was from the factory. Okay, so now we've got the install complete. Treat this as you would your front rock guard. Clean it with whatever cleaner you wash the coach with. You don't need to wax it. It is water resistant. It does keep the dust and the drafts out. Remember, before you run your air conditioning, to open this, all you have to do is lock this arm down, go inside and run your air conditioning. We usually leave it open when we're camping the whole trip. Just remember, before you leave, push this up, pull this down. There's a key, you can lock it if you care to. Pretty much no maintenance other than what you would do with the outside of the coach from just washing and waxing. And that's it. That's all. Real easy. Takes about 40 minutes. Some tools. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, Chuck can do it. You can do it too.